they just wanted to know kind of about soy, about why we don't use soy protein, and they've heard that it's not good for us, especially for women. But they, why
really
can you? Yeah, why? What are the issues?
Go at that, man. Just go for it. That's a great question.
No, there's a lot of reasons for that. The first thing I would say is the supply. The supply of it is really, from my point of view, just my point of view, a very dangerous supply. You have the infiltration of over 95% of the soy in the world is genetically modified.
GMO. You want to explain what GMO is real quick? Do we have time for
that?
Yeah.
So you know why GMO is not cool.
GMO, I'll do the best I can to give you a tiny... So GMO was created...
Well, it stands for genetically modified.
Genetically modified organisms. Okay, so what they back in the 40s, 30s, 40s...
1940, I think.
40-something, 1940... we lost a whole bunch of tomato crops. They got frozen and we lost them. So what some brilliant scientist discovered was that I think it was the Alaskan flounder, the Atlantic flounder.
I think you're right.
Alaskan flounder. They were super resistant to freezing temperatures. So what they did was so genetically modified was birthed out of taking the DNA structure, figuring out a way to create fissures in the structure. So they took things like E. coli virus.
You don't want to eat
and
that.
they invaded it in the DNA structure to create fissures in that DNA structure, and then injected these new organisms of the DNA of the flounder and created a whole new DNA structure to then be resistant to freezing temperatures. Well, some brilliant idea of taking this idea of changing the structure of what actually creates life and replicates it, and they've started to do it in food. So genetically modified organisms, every scientist that has ever worked with GMOs would not eat the food. It has zero to do with creating more food on the planet. Has no argument whatsoever. So there is a huge danger to genetically modified organisms. 99% of whatever's on the most shelves in the grocery store has genetically modified organisms. So again, ask your questions. They do not have to regulate it. They don't have to say that it's in it. So if you think that the organizations, the FDAs of the world and all these things are out to benefit you, you're sadly mistaken. You have to ask the questions.
So soy and corn, what's the three most? So soy, corn, most of it is GMO on the market. There's a third one.
I know canola, certainly.
Canola oil. And packaged goods, stay away from that. Anyway, that's one of the reasons why.
So anyway, back to the soy. It's a big thing. Plus the sterols in there, the estrogen enhancing properties. The funny story, the monks used to use it to suppress testosterone levels. So when they went, their beliefs were in their meditation, so they wouldn't have other thoughts.
So maybe we should feed our husbands some soy.
Yeah, well.
So just bringing it back to the soy, besides being
that was important.
GMO.
It's important for people to really get why
GMO
and what that's about.
And constantly, fermented soy is a whole different. Organic
like
fermented soy is tempeh is fantastic. Because the fermentation changed the molecular structure and changes those natural plant sterols in there. But just eating that tofu and that kind of soy is a very dangerous thing.
That was the question, why we don't have any soy?
Yeah.
That is why.
And it's very cheap. You can buy this, GMO crap soy, and a lot of companies use it. Soy sauce.
Stay away from that.
Stay away from soy sauce. So anyway, it's a cheap protein source. Not very good one.
No.
Okay, to wrap it up, it would be great if you could give everybody a sneak peek at some of the superfoods you're thinking about putting in Shakeology next. I know one that's at the top of the list.
I want to say
is
moringa.
Moringa.
Because I love moringa.
Oh my God.
Why don't you guys
Moringa.
talk a little bit about moringa?
Moringa aloe vera. It's probably the most powerful superfood I've ever come across.
That's what I put in my shake. No matter what mood I'm in, moringa is in there.
Yeah, it's a ugly tree with these potent green leaves. I was in Senegal, so I got to see some of the head researchers of moringa and go to moringa fields, and this thing, ounce for ounce, is literally, I would say, the most powerful superfood in the world. It can grow easily. It can. It's got.
Let's move in a list.
What is it?
My little talker. Phytoplankton, baobab.
Gac fruit. Rhodiola rosea.
Gac,
which is
you said.
Gac.
But what does moringa do? Like, why is it so good for you? Moringa?
Well, moringa's got. I think they recorded up to 60 antioxidants in it. It's got 5 times the amount of calcium as milk, like 20 times the amount of vitamin A as tomatoes, and it goes down the list. So it's not just one thing. It's about 20.
That's what's great about all these elements, is that it's
Yeah.
multi-leveled.
Yeah.
There's so many aspects of it that are fantastic, and it all comes back to oxygenation, alkalization, antioxidant, mineralizations.
Yeah.
All these elements do that. They're amazing because there's so many levels of
Yeah.
what they do. So many.
This moringa is they call it in Senegal, they call it never die. And I kept asking, like, what does that mean? What do you? And they're like, oh no, we're saying never die. And I was like, really? I'm like, yeah. So if you take this every day, you never die. And it never dies. It grows so easily in some of these places that it never dies. So that was kind of a fun moment. And people can grow these, and they take them traditionally and throw them on salads and all these kind of things. So it's a very, very it is being worked on in formulas right now, along with some other ones that I'm really, really excited about.
Great, we're out of time.
Right.
I don't want you guys to talk about any more
Right,
secrets.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to our babble for the last hour or so. But if you have any questions, don't send me a Facebook message. I can't keep up.
Go to Shakeology.
Yeah,
Go to
Shakeology.
faq.shakeology.com for questions. We either have them answered or we can get them answered. I know some of you it takes a little time, but
Or
that's
go to facebook.com/Shakeology.
yeah, or facebook.com/Shakeology. Thanks.
Enjoy.